Welcome back. It's time to turn on dark mode. We're here to talk about working in IT, video games, tech, and everything outside the 9 to 5. I'm your host, Keegan Lassard.
And you didn't take a breath. I'm one of your hosts, Taylor Floyd Views. How's it going?
It is going. Yeah, you're right. I like to speed through them. I don't know. I don't like to mess around. I want to get into the agenda.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's a
We
good
got a
episode this week.
good one.
We did some birthday boys this week.
Oh, you right. Mine was yesterday. We're recording the day after, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the fact that how did I not know that I was born on National Video Game Day?
It's no brainer.
It's
They
well,
invented it after you were born. They're like, yo, this kid games.
but the problem is there's another video game day, National Video Games Day, plural, on September 12th. Why? I don't know.
My conspiracy is that the national whatever days is just some dude online that posts about it, and then everyone either Googles and finds it, and then it's just a known thing. So I guarantee we could probably post it like July 14th is National Stew Boy Day, and then it's
You
just
gotta
gonna become
you gotta like get a little bit of a following behind it, but like nobody knows who originated this one. It's fake news, but I mean I'm a gamer, so I'm like, yeah, I was born on National Video Game Day.
I mean, that's a solid fact. Mine's coming up. Mine's just literally a Bastile's Day, so nothing video game related, just revolutionary shit.
Okay, I see you. All right.
So I mean, with our birthdays and everything, it'll be a great birthday gift this year. This is what I'm asking for. It's for you, the viewer, to hit that subscribe button for us. Spread the word. Give us the perfect birthday gift, which is 1,000 subs.
Just give us 1,000 right in one smack.
Oh yeah, I mean, easy. Chunk change. Word of mouth helps out a ton. And if you could like, subscribe, and even rate us, if you thought it was trash, let us know so we can fix it and give us feedback. But we just want to get better at doing the podcast, and we want to grow our community. That's been since day one. We've been trying to grow it and keep going and keep improving. So sooner we get to 1,000 subs, the more we could branch out to merch and do more with our videos and our video series.
Facts. All right. We got a truck ride along here. We got a big episode today.
We got a truck light ride here.
A truck light ride. All right, yeah, sure. We found something work related to talk about, man.
It's been a struggle.
Who would have thought? So I've been doing a lot of like accessibility testing at work, and like our application wasn't exactly like certified for like people with visual impairments or mainly visual stuff, because like a lot of the accessibility comes at the phone level. But like I've been noticing a lot of like articles and other things talking about accessibility and like why you should be having an accessible website, and it was just interesting to me that like this is kind of starting to be enforced. And like I don't know, it's kind of changed like the way like design happens. Like I've noticed at work, like we can't use a lot of like bright colors on white backgrounds because it's like you can't see it as much with someone who might be visually impaired. Or like I've seen a couple other applications like completely remove their like logo color. Like Foot Locker is like red, black, and white. But like when there was like red on black or red on white, like they just removed the red. Like so now it's just like more black and white.
Well, I know some companies they either have heavy website or mobile traffic have been getting like sued for not having accessibility. So I know that's another, which it's good that change is happening, but
yeah, 100%.
I can like as a QA person, testing for that is got to be a struggle. But
bro, don't get me started. I've heard a lot of series voiceover like here, this is the label, and then whatever Google's tap back or whatever it's called.
Well, working in QA, you know how hard it is sometimes to get like web devs to like do a formulated element ID structure, so that way when you do automation, you can grab the elements on the page easy. Well, these accessibility, they have to have really clean, concise element IDs, so that way when like those voiceovers go to search for like whatever button they're trying to get to, they can get to it. So
Yeah,
like
dude, these
if
devs
it's
are
a headache
not
for
enjoying it.
automation, I can't imagine what the update for accessibility is going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, like, devs are not too thrilled about like, oh, like I need to have it like actually say that, like, because some of it's not even like most users won't ever experience it. So it's like the fact that like you have to do this consistency for something that isn't very like it's actually kind of difficult to implement, like, okay,
Oh
i
yeah.
need to i need to make this say heading, so then like the person knows like where on the page it is and kind of things. Like, it is challenging, but I mean, like, it made us realize like there were certain like parts of our apps that functionally weren't even accessible for like visual impairments. Like, it was only like clear to someone who can see that you can like swipe. Like, there was no like button or anything, and it's just like, wow, like that like just complete oversight on that part. So like it has like changed the way that I view design. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm not a designer, like I'm a QA, but like as I'm looking at like our website, like as we start scaling that up and doing stuff, like we're probably going to have to look into that, and then like have the consistent labels, and then like descriptions for images, because some people might not be able to view the images. I'm like, I don't know, it's just like something that I never really realized was, like, I don't know, it's just like, what do you call it, something you take for granted, so.
Yeah, and you said I'm a designer, I'm not a QA, or I'm not a designer, I'm a QA. But as QA, we have to, when we go through like prereqs or if we go any requirement meetings, we have to be the ones to look ahead of like what they're not thinking about for testing wise.
Yeah, so we're like a designer subcategory.
Yeah. So, and I bet it's a headache for just making requirements out of this, because I don't think there's not like an industry standard yet of how to implement or what colors are off limits or.
It looks like the ADA and WCAG is what like most people follow, the Americans
Okay.
with Disability Act. So that's like for US stuff. But then the web content accessibility guidelines seems to be like what people follow for, like the web accessibility. So
Right.
there's certain like contractors or like companies that you can use to audit you, to like give you like a LOC, letter of like conformance. So like
Yeah.
they'll like basically approve you, and then now you can like say like, hey, we're like accessible. I've noticed that a lot of it dealt around colors, and that made me think about like when you play a video game, you usually go to the options and then you change the accessibility like functions. So like you can change the color scheme for like colorblind people, or you can change the um like things can be read out like on some games. And like The Last of Us 2 was actually praised for its accessibility changes. Like they changed the way the game was rendered. So like enemies were like, for people who were like visually impaired, enemies were like in red and allies in yellow or stuff like that. So like
Oh.
you can play the game almost in just like primary colors only. So like it was like really praised for that. So uh I was thinking that like this would be difficult to implement. But like you would kind of have to do this from the beginning. But like as these startups start coming out now in the future, and like accessibility is kind of like um a big thing, they should start implementing those settings from the gun. Like, okay, like this is the setting for like the person that has this type of color blindness, because there's like different levels. So like now maybe you don't have to get rid of your color scheme for the majority of users, but like, okay, now people can't see green, like red green, so like we like change those colors, and like you just click the option. So then that way like you just go to your like your folder that has the colors in it, and just like, okay, if this selected, just like here's the colors, they swap. Because like for us changing our colors, some of it was like, because this wasn't a forethought when we first made it, it was like, okay, like we got to dive deep in and find wherever the green is, and just like, all right, it's not a problem. So
Right. Yeah, and that hindsight's always 2020, and it's funny how that saying fit in with accessibility. But um, it always sounds easier to like, we should incorporate that earlier on. But like knowing how like the IT process can go, and how sometimes either IT companies are really stuck in waterfall and they can't even get to agile. I can't. It's gotta be so difficult for those companies that have so many third party connectors that are going through their either mobile apps or their website and just like getting told like all these projects they probably have be able to be like, by the way, legally mandated you need to go to accessibility
Yeah.
by 2020 or whatever, or 2021. I feel for them because I know how much work is going to be put into the project managers, the product owners, and then going to FRDs, to devs, to QA, and then finally to production. But that's why, like, if you're an IT company and you're not heading to an agile framework, it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's just it's the right way. Like, for a while there, I would defend waterfall just because for QA it gives you more time to document.
Mm-hmm.
But an agile framework, it just makes way more sense especially if you're such a heavy front end, like consumer facing application always being used. You need to have that agile framework so you can push out those changes quickly. And even if you do have like an oops a daisy prod defect, you can resort back and have it fixed within a week, or even some places being DevOps, within days. So I think maybe this would be, you have to be accessibility pro, and then also they see that when a change like this comes into to scope, waterfall just ain't it, so they might move more to agile. It might help companies move to it quicker.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this might help a lot of people with either visual impairment or other disabilities find a really good foothold in the IT industry. It might open up a lot of interesting new job areas and like special I can't even speak, but like new specialists to be hired. It might help that community out a ton, because then a lot of these websites like maybe Facebook and Amazon or what have you are going to be seeking out those people to fill those job roles.
True.
Because they might have a specific like awareness when they're developing new features, being like, yo, I couldn't use that if you guys developed that, and then they can kind of help them that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then there's like the whole like dark theme that everybody's using nowadays, like dark mode, that presents its own challenges. So like we got Gibbs over here telling us we're not accessible, and it's like, bro, we know we're not a huge company yet. That's not on the table yet. We got to crank out the content, Gibbs.
It would be kind of interesting to have a light mode website for our dark mode podcast website.
Oh, it's not happening. Never will we have a light mode. No, I'm kidding. We might have to someday. But like, you can make dark mode accessible. That's what I'm trying to say. So like,
yeah,
we would just not be using certain colors.
It's really hard when like a site doesn't offer a dark mode theme, because I'm just like, what you doing? Like, why not?
It is hard to like, you really have to like revamp the entire styling. Like, it's not as simple as like, okay, let's make all text white and all backgrounds black. Like, it's not that easy. So I don't know. I mean, Facebook just made a dark mode not that long ago, and like Facebook's been around forever and people have been doing dark modes forever. So I don't know. It's interesting though, and it's good to see this like wave of change happening, and I hope that like it changes the way that designs are, because like I think some people would get kind of carried away in what they did with designs, and now it's like, okay, like we do kind of need to keep it simple. Like we just need to like make it functional and like look nice, but not like do all the craziness. Because like, for instance, you went to Apple's website the other day and like you were looking at, I forget what it was. It was like the Mac or iPad, and then like, how they always have their crazy animations and stuff, and usually they're cool. Like sometimes like the Mac will open as you scroll down, and like it's like dynamic to like one-to-one with where you're scrolling. This time it had it zigzagging across the page, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't adding any like benefit. Like, it's like distracting. Like,
it's just too much. I was just like, do it for like one part of your thing, and then just like let me see information.
Yeah.
But like, I was literally, it felt like I was like just nonstop scrolling, and I'm like, dude, I just want to see what the specs are. I don't want to zigzag whatever.
Zigzag, dude, you are struggling today.
I really am.
It's been nailed the intro.
If that's the only thing I nail, that's a good episode. But
it took all your energy out of you, I guess.
Dude, all the API testing I had to do this week really drained me a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I just threw it in my mouth a little bit there. That's
I don't mind
fun
API
stuff.
testing, but it's a matter of like when you have to start the week where it's just like Monday morning, you come in and you're like, hey, for our entire application, you need to test every endpoint. Oof. So, and our sprints end on Mondays. So I was like, you're just like at the end of the sprint, you're going to hand this off. All right. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was all this week. I mean, API testing is a lot better than manually doing it through our application. Obviously, it's gonna be faster, but there was a lot to set up. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I mean it's not quick, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another topic I wanted to bring up that dealt with teleconferencing. Like we talked about those before, and people are kind of burnt on, you know, Zoom talks and all that, like with the whole COVID, and like people are starting to go outside more and more. But like for work, a lot of people are still remote, and Microsoft out here is trying to solve or at least mitigate that Zoom fatigue by they released a feature, and it's called Together Mode. I'm gonna pull it up here. Or Gibbs, can you help me out?
Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm still set in the mindset where like I need to pull it up, but like we got
Hand
Gibbs
that,
now.
yeah, hand that off to our intern.
So basically, they have it so where like you don't see the person like just with their background. Like you know how Zoom tried to do all the fancy stuff with like, oh, like you can put your own background in. Microsoft wants to basically put your like character or like avatar, whatever you want to call you're in the corner, and put it like on a real background. So like it'll take everybody in the meeting and put you like in a stadium setting or like at a table, so where like you look like you're talking to people. And like it's supposed to be the reason why is people say when you look at a person like just their head, and it's for like multiple hours a day, you're the range that you're seeing these people at is similar to like seeing them 2 feet in front of you in real life. And they say that's like the only time you're ever doing that is if you're about to fight or if you're about to mate. So like so like it's like you don't need to be that close to people. So like it sends the fight or flight response essentially. So like
Work just got a little steamy.
No, like, this is like somebody's like analysis of it, but
yeah.
like it was just funny to say, like, because I heard another person say that like it's weird to not see someone's torso. So I was like, okay, that does make sense. So like basically what they're trying to have you do is like place you in a more natural simulation setting. And like
That's
you could
cool.
see in that video that like they had like a table, they had like a coffee shop simulation, they had like an auditorium for like all hands meetings. But the coolest part is that it puts one person in a fixed spot on everybody's screen. So then like when that person speaks, everybody's head turns to that person. They don't like suddenly magically appear on the screen and then disappear when they're not talking. So it's like you are addressing the company or you are addressing your team.
What? I mean, hear me out. Why don't we just why don't they just release the hologram technology they clearly have? Like, let's just put it out in the world. If we're gonna go this far with it, like, just put it out there. What I would like to see instead, that's like funnier, in my opinion, is if they can do this where they take your likeness or whatever you're capturing and they can like almost Photoshop it out, right? That's what you're kind of saying, and put it into a background. Like, let's put ourselves on like actors or movies like bodies like photoshopped in like them like walking around. It'd be pretty funny to like have that kind of likeness being into like a Skype call. But
I mean, that's gonna be mad distracting because like those Zoom backgrounds get pretty crazy. I'd imagine people have like way too much fun with the what do you call it, like putting it on face like a deep fake.
Yeah,
dude, deep fakes are scary. Like when they like put the face of someone else on it and it looks like pretty realistic.
They're a little weird. Yeah.
Oh man.
But I will say that like I think it's really cool. It's a really cool idea. Zoom fatigue is kind of weird to me to like hear. You know, sometimes people like have this weird thing about Zoom, and one of my coworkers was like, "Yeah, I don't really like using Zoom at all. Like, it makes me nervous. I don't trust that site. I don't trust that application.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all like the kind of the conspiracy theories around it and like security." And I just remember sending him a message of like, "You realize these Slack calls that we do are through Zoom?" And he's just like, and it's just like dot dot dot. What? Like, I'm like, so I mean, all this, like, you're nervous about using it. You use it every day. We use
Yeah.
it every day. Like they integrated Slack and Zoom integrated together, so that way you could do those seamless video calls in a channel or what have you. So, but yeah, I mean, you got to spice up video calling because it does get.
Well,
It
hold
can
on.
get.
They got another feature before we like say
Oh.
like that's it. This isn't so much like a legendary groundbreaking feature as it is just like this is kind of smart. So, when you're in all of these meetings, like
Mm-hmm.
you have your little thumbnail in the corner that shows you and like you're like hyper aware of yourself. Like, okay, like
Oh,
am
like
I
right
in the
now.
frame? Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just like looking at yourself constantly like all that. They remove that in this mode. So like when you're talking in a classroom or to your team, you don't see yourself. So like
Okay.
now you just talk to your team and you don't see yourself. So
Okay.
like I like that.
One thing, and this is a prediction. Okay, hear me out.
You're going to say that people are going to start doing some stupid stuff, not realizing that they're on camera.
Yes, but specifically to older generations. They're going to forget that they're on video. This has already happened. I don't know if you saw the news feature or whatever, but in Mexico, a senator, an older woman, forgot that she was on a conference call with literally like the nation and like all of the senators and was changing, and she was fully nude on the conference call. So
Woof.
like, if you take out the fact that you can't see yourself, or
Like you would have to give a banner, like they would have to give a warning, like
oh
camera
yeah,
on, like or like
yeah,
make that like in your face, but like remove the fact that you see yourself.
yeah, and I wonder how it's gonna work with like things appearing in your background too, if that like messes up like.
Oh, dude, like yeah, you've seen in Zoom calls and stuff, like your whole head will clip out.
I've heard like since we're talking about this whole like Zoom fatigue and like kind of like just this genre we live in now where like it's just a normal thing now to have video calls all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard like the craziest stories of people like either getting in trouble because like one I heard from somebody was that they're like they were on a Zoom call and whoever's like girlfriend or no, it was their boyfriend was literally just walking around in the background naked and like walking in like the hallway like back and then like forth and then like back and like no one said anything till after the call. So like I wonder if like that would just accidentally happen, like if you were just like how that would mess up with the camera.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely like kind of an interesting thing, like the fact that like I've now on display in our homes, like the stuff people do at home is like dumb and like
yeah,
embarrassing. So like I don't know, like people got to like change that if they're going to be remote permanently or more often. So
yeah,
I don't know, like that's why I think it does help to have a dedicated space for it, because then like you don't have the distractions in the background. But
or
like
green screen.
yeah, I mean like that little commercial that we just saw there was like one of them looked like our table, but like in like a normal like
Yeah,
coffee shop or something. But like we got the dark mode studio, so but like if they're doing all this without a green screen, like it's not going to be perfect. Like they had it all looking like, oh, everybody's going to be perfectly cut out without a green screen. Like probably not. Like there's going to be some real ugliness going on,
throw in
clipping.
like shitty cameras too, like the lighting of like those like terrible in your laptop cameras too. Like
Yeah.
I guarantee what they shot with was like nice webcams and
Oh,
stuff like that.
exactly. So
Good lighting.
it's not going to be that good, but it's a cool concept, and I'm kind of excited to see if it goes to other platforms, because like I don't use Teams, but I think that that's a cool option. So
I would like to see if people messed with it just to see like what would happen if like you join the call while laying down, and it's just like half your body, well, like you know what I mean. Like I would like to see what weird like things people could do with that program.
Oh, they'll definitely find ways to just break it and be weird about it. So
Also, did we talk about this prior? How it's like weird when people like request that you turn your video on.
yeah, I don't
Hasn't
know
happened to me too
why.
often, but like there's been a couple of times where it's like, hey, you want to do like a video chat? And I'm like, not really. Can we just like talk? Like, can we just do audio? Like, but
Yeah, I don't
anyways,
know. I mean, it depends on like how quick the call is gonna be. Like if it's like I'm asking you a question, like I don't need to see like or you don't really need to see me.
and then like they join in video and like straight out the gate, you're like, oh, do I need to turn mine on? Like, you feel
Yeah.
bad, and you're like, all right, I'll
Yeah.
turn mine on. I don't
Yeah.
want to just stare at him.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this next piece of news is interesting and it's going to be
I would hope so.
it's going to be controversial, like 100%. I don't know how controversial, but
I
it's
already
going
hate
to
it.
it's going to lead into a further controversial decision that people think is going to happen. So, what I'm talking about is
Of
Apple is
course.
rumored to not release uh the AC charging adapter with the phone or the wired ear pods that come with it. The reason
Dude.
being, just let me continue.
All right, all right.
The reason being, how many of those do you already have in your home?
Okay, that's
Exactly. They actually released a survey to ask people, like, I didn't look into the results of it, but like I know damn well that a lot of those people that buy iPhones year after year have like 8 of them in their house somewhere. So it's like they really don't need a new one. Plus, a lot of those ear pods stay in the box because everybody has wireless headphones now or their own pair of wired headphones that are like over ear or something. So like they don't need that. And you can find a cheap pair if you need it. So like they're removing them. They're still going to include a cable so you can like plug it into stuff, but it's just not going to have the wall port. But like I hope this also lowers the price of the unit because you're not getting some because there was another rumor where the iPhone 12 like entry level is supposed to be $650. So like I'm
not
pretty
bad.
sure that's like 50 or $100 less than what it was in the past. So like it might be, but
I would hope it does, but I wouldn't put it
I
past them to be
wouldn't
like,
bet on it,
yeah,
but like,
because it's gonna drive up their sales of the AirPods, and
yeah. So like, it's a smart move for them. But here's where it gets concerning. Their goal is to always move to the sleekest, most elegant phone. So they are like people think that they're trying to move towards a portless phone where like it's all wireless. Now, you're doing a stank face, which you do for any change ever, Keegan. let me say this. I don't plug my phone in ever unless I'm at someone's house and they only have it. I use wireless charging at night and I use wireless headphones. I don't mind the whole like no plug-in if they do two things. First of all, include a way to wirelessly charge it. So like, all right, if the phone is $50 more, put the damn wireless thing in there because I'm not trying to buy a separate thing just so I can use the phone. Like they almost are literally required to include that. Second, how are they going to work with like developer functions? Because you can't, I'm pretty sure you can't wirelessly hook up your phone now to your Mac to code onto it or like to like test out applications or to do debug mode. So like they're
yeah,
going to have to like increase the bandwidth that transfer speeds like data goes through it and also allow for that sort of wireless transfer of data. And like I don't know if that's going to be through their AirPlay, like that style, or if that's going to be through like I literally put my phone on a pad and then plug the pad into the laptop. Because either way, there's still a wire.
one thing here, I guess I don't think it's as ugly as a move as I thought. As I'm processing it right now of a portless phone, you definitely have to include those. the way to do it wirelessly.
Yeah.
And I would even argue that you should include, if you're at that point, you might as well just include a cheap pair of wireless headphones. They're not that expensive to make.
But I also think they're cutting that down because it's like they're just like mass producing something that widely doesn't get used. It's like
Yeah.
waste.
So, and I mean, I have the Pixel 2 and I can't do wireless charging, so I know it's really useful. I do wonder on the like if it at all deteriorates. I don't really know what the stats on that are, but I'm sure I'm wondering what it would do for batteries. But well, all I'm gonna say, and I actually approve that. I think this change. I don't think it would shock that many people, and I think we would quickly adapt to it. Because honestly, they already hurdled over the headphone jack and
But
stuck to it.
but that wasn't a hurdle, Keegan. That was a mountain climb. People
Yeah,
were irate over something like it was. They always kept saying we're being brave, and that's Apple's like whole thing. We have the courage to like make hard decisions. Whatever that you want to say that bullshit, that's fine. They need to like prove to people why they're removing it. Like people didn't understand why they were removing the headphone jack. So I honestly do think that people are going to be immediately pissed off when they see, oh, we're not having a port no more. But then like they're obviously gonna have to like better explain why. And then like
maybe they add more speakers, or they show what they can do with design, or they could show what they could do if they didn't have to deal with this
exactly.
air.
But like not
But
everybody watches the keynotes. And that's where they
that's
do all the
100%.
explanation. So like they got to make it in the marketing like okay, like hey, your phone's portless. Look what I can do with it now. Because the
Yeah,
reason they removed the headphone jack, I'm pretty sure, is not just because it was like oh, like everything's going towards wireless. It was also to allow for like more space to put like the haptic engine and like have the HD feel of the vibration and also have a bigger screen that was like edge to edge. So I don't
honestly,
know.
just honestly, what they should what the marketing should do is make USB the new VHS. Be like, you still USB cords, like,
So like,
and like
well,
and like those infomercials where it's like black and white, and like that's like people struggling through like mundane shit. It's like a, it's like a
a
guy
floppy
at
ass
his,
cord.
yeah, and it's like all shorted and shit.
Because people always like use those like electrical hazard cords that are like frayed and stuff.
Yeah. Or like, like look at a guy on like an older iPhone, like with the paper clip trying to clean out the USB part so they could like still charge their phone.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one way to do it, but I see the biggest issue and the biggest hurdle: cars. Doing wireless charging in your car
True.
is
That
going to
I didn't
be,
even think
they
about
have devices for it, but it's going to be, that's not something they're going to include. And that's a huge thing. People use their phones. They like go on road trips, and everyone has a USB cord in their car.
I mean, it'll be included if you want to shell out $60K for a brand new 2021 BMW.
Exactly.
Like, oh, just that. Those people can get it. But here's the last thing I want to say though. Like, all those hurdles are gonna be like interesting for them to do. But we always compare Apple's software to being like they're behind. Apple seems to always be pioneering some crazy shit on the hardware front. Because guaranteed, if they do this first, millions of Androids are going to follow. Like within a year. Like we're going to see, oh, we're no ports, Samsung. We're no ports, Pixel. And it's going to be like, oh, we did it. Like, but it's like,
it's a weird one to like jump ahead of the curve on. I gotta
but
say,
like
for
they're the
iPhone,
only ones that want to do it. I feel like Android loves to play it safe, which is fair. Like people want reliable, and then Apple's out here just like, nah, we're gonna shake it up. And then some people might not always want to shake up. Like there's been times they shaken it up, and I've been kind of like, all right, well, I don't really care for it. But like I said, like I think the portless phone will eventually become something that is the norm and useful because now you don't have to mess around with the wires. But like there will be a mountain to climb in that first year.
100%. But like, One thing that will happen when we go portless, if they go portless, is you'll be really siloed. Like you'll be Apple or you'll be Android. Like it's siloed now, but like you're gonna be really limited on like the features that Apple incorporates on how to connect your phone to things. I foresee maybe like might be specific features you can only access because they worked with these developers within these hardware units to access it that way, like kind of with AirPlay and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder, I would like to see what happens with that being kind of how Apple's kind of always siloed and been kind of exclusive with their hardware. And if you go outside of it might work for a bit, but then it's just kind of janky. Um,
Yeah.
when you go third party. But I my thing is how funny would it be if they went portless and then Andrew's like, "Yo, why are you guys on portless when we don't have a phone? It's in your wrist." And they're just like, like iPhone doubled down on the wrong front, and then Andrew's just like, "We are just now a software company that goes into your body."
But like, here's like as I'm like mulling this over in my mind, I'm starting to think of like other complications and stuff. Like for instance, when they've got rid of the headphone jack and everybody had to carry around the dongle if they wanted to go to like a party to plug in to the aux.
Yeah.
How the hell does the aux work now? Like, like did they have a wireless adapter to aux? Like, or are you just like we're strictly
Bluetooth.
wireless now? Like, you got to get a Bluetooth adapter aux. Like, I guess that would be the solution. But it's
Also, you got to think about the security, dude. That means if you go portless, I'm gonna assume more people are gonna leave their Bluetooth on all the time. Not that they haven't
true.
already, but man, there's gonna be some security breaches.
Wait, hold on. I don't think you need Bluetooth to do wireless charging. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, like you said, you would leave your Bluetooth on all the time, and I do because like I have a watch that connects to it, and I constantly am like hooking up wireless headphones. But like in that instance, that like yeah, your data is going to be wirelessly transferred. So I wonder what the range of it is, because like what? See, this is where I'm confused because like let's say you're plugging your phone into the computer, you are connecting your
Yeah.
battery to the power device and then the data is going through the wire. So is it like is there like leakage? Is it literally just like maybe like some leakage like a couple of inches out from the device so if somebody could come over and snag it with like a wireless NFC receiver in like a second? Or I don't like it's going to be weird.
I don't know. Ever since our securities class and what I've learned, like anything's possible, dude. Like, and that's what the only thing that makes me really nervous about going portless is that just means. And I knew that's where we're heading. I mean, if you look at Internet of Things, more and more things are gonna that are mundane to us now are getting Wi-Fi attached, and you are connecting to it wirelessly. And basically, everything I learned in that class and what I've learned through security is that if it's wireless, it's hackable. So when you make a phone completely wireless and everything you send is via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
you are, I mean, all you're doing is increasing your security. But obviously, a company like Apple wouldn't just like full force it and like full send without, you know,
Dude, they're always like privacy first now, especially ever since the whole like encryption with the police and
yeah,
like the San Bernardino shooting. Like, and they went to them like asking to unlock the phone, and they're like, no, we won't do it. And then like they've just been privacy at the forefront and everything. Who knows how like much like how safe everything is, but like damn well that when they do release this portless phone, that like they're gonna be like, okay, we know y'all are scared, but like here's the security, here's the whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm interested to see. And I don't think like if that phone comes out, right, I would not be an early adopter on that one. Like, I would hope that I had just gotten the previous gen phone. So then like I'm not like 2 years deep and then now I gotta wait a third year. Cause usually like when you're going through that third year on your phone, like that's usually when it starts biting the dust. But I don't know. Like
I kind of hope they switch up their model more, dude. Like they're always about sleekness and being on the forefront of their design. And as much as they've changed their iPhone Face ID and stuff like that, their phone has looked the same for so long. I just kind of wish they would shake it up more besides just color. And I would figure, it's funny like looking back like 10, 20 years ago, like as a kid and getting into like teenage years, what you would think 2020 was going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just wish, like I remember wishing like that Iron Man technology would be a thing, or like remember in the movie Her with Phoenix where he has like the basically like an AirPod but like a little bud that like is his assistant and like can pull up things through his glasses or like through like the technology around him and be seamless. Or like when Apple Watches came out, I was like, oh, maybe we're going to a way portability mode
Mm-hmm.
where we go smaller instead of, our phones, and we kind of go through that seamless. And then like Google lenses were coming out, but that's just kind of like no one talks about that anymore. And like Snapchat was gonna have like a glasses,
Oh, Google
and we don't
or
talk about that anymore.
Snap glasses or something. Yeah, that was a
And I
disaster.
think it would be annoying to have that like little personal assistant in your earbud, but like I feel like you could definitely get used to just having one bud in, and like like, oh, text message from Andrew, and then reads it, and then you're like, all right, full send to whatever, and then you send whatever. But like that's the like where I hope we get to. Like I want to get to that kind of cool technology where I'm just like, and like shit's like flying around me as I'm looking through my Google lenses or some shit. But that's just me. I love cyber shit. I love like it being in tune with like eventually being like our wrists, our hands, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm completely off that. So we've already established that on the show, but like we have plateaued with phone development, like on all devices. Like there really isn't too much going on, and like they're really just trying to push this foldable phone crap, which like nobody asked for. So like I don't know what else we could really be doing other than like, yeah, like you're saying, moving towards more integration with everything else. So like I'm fine just having the phone at this point, and it will be interesting to see. But like one thing that I'm not too excited about is that now they're going back to the stupid sharp edges that they say people loved about like the iPhone 4. So like that, some people might think that's a huge change. I don't think so, but I like the curved edges of the phone because I find it to be more comfortable in the hand. So like the sharp edges, because I don't use a case, like it's genuinely less comfortable to me. And I just like, I think it's kind of dumb that we're like now going back almost like a throwback to old design instead of just like trying to find something new. But like I said, we're in that plateau of like there's really nowhere else we can go, but now we're folding.
Yeah, and I want to see like it stay within the sleek curve, but like let's build a phone that you don't need to get a case for it. That's sleek, it's curvy, but it's durable
Doesn't
enough where,
break.
yeah,
Yeah, that's honestly where we should be putting the money. Like, I'm tired of seeing these like super delicate but pretty looking phones. Like, cause they do look pretty. I like Samsung's designs. I like Apple's designs. The Pixel's doing its own thing. It's for some people, not for others. But like, I I want the phone to not break when you drop it from 2 inches from your pocket. Like, it's like I'm careful with my phone, right? I really only put a case on when I go out drinking because like you it's harder to control your phone when you're a little tipsy. So I I like do that, but at home I'm pretty careful with it. But like yeah, I would love to see them put technology into a phone that doesn't break when you drop it rather than a phone that folds and has an extremely delicate screen. Like
yeah.
everything's getting so delicate. But I don't know. You see in the movies, like all those glass panel UI things, like where it's like legit, like we're just pressing nothing. Like that shit's gonna break. Like, let's not go to that, please. Like, let's make it
You're just
durable.
coding, you're pissed off, and you're like, and it just shatters.
Oh man,
Woo.
you got any more things you want to rib about before we move on?
No, I'm good. That was a hefty. That was good.
That was solid. And now this next one, like I've been ready to talk about this one for a while. We've been thinking about it for a few episodes, and like I'm ready to just dive in.
League of Legends.
No,
Oh, okay.
even Gibbs is looking at you like, boy.
Gibbs doesn't even play video games.
All right. Actually, this will be like a little bit of a prelude into this topic. Um, on a kind of like side note tangent though. The
Okay.
PS5, they
Yeah.
released the box art, and it's about as anticlimactic as when they revealed their logo, and it was just a 4 changed to the 5. Um, I'm gonna
Or
pull
how
it
about
up.
that TED talk?
Oh yeah, that was something else. But basically, they showed off the box art for Spider-Man Miles Morales, which we'll talk about in a second. Um, but they basically just put a white banner at the top instead of a blue one, right? And it's nothing crazy. I think it looks nice, but they are hard leaning into this white theme, and it's got me worried that they're not gonna release a black console. I am like kind of scared now because they keep saying, "Oh, we're gonna have customizable consoles, like they're gonna be special editions," but that doesn't sound like a launch thing. So I'm a little bit nervous. But
Isn't it kind of odd how we've flip flopped?
how so?
360 comes out and it's a white model.
Oh
PlayStation's been consistently black models since PS2.
yeah.
And then Xbox is like Xbox One black. And then PS5 is like, yo, hold up, hold my beer. We going back.
Back to white. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really know why,
That
but
doesn't look good. I don't like it. I didn't like it for the 360, and as soon as they released the 360 black version, I bought that. Like I didn't need to buy it, but I bought it.
well, see, here's where I'm at. If they release an only white console, I'm just gonna get like a D brand skin and cover it. So like that would be like a $40 replacement rather than a $500.
Man, I haven't bought a console skin since my Xbox original.
Dang.
Like I what?
I said dang. All
And I
right.
remember putting it on very delicately, and I was like, really, because like if you screw that up,
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
like you're out $40 or whatever. So so yeah, the topic at hand though comes from console games in the next gen are going to be more expensive. It sounds like $70 is the new standard. And there's a lot of reasons behind it, and we're going to dive deep. But the ironic thing is this launch title, Spider-Man Miles Morales, is a standalone game, but it's a smaller game. It's not like the full-fledged one. It's like they equated it to Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was like a spin-off, and that was $40. So this game's most likely going to be $40, which is kind of ironic considering the price of games will go up. But
I don't know how I feel about this.
$70. I'm going to let you say how you feel because my initial reactions I wasn't happy. But then when I heard the logic behind it and also like the justifications for it, I was more sort of like, okay, it makes sense. But it's going to hurt.
Here's the thing. I get it. It's terrible timing, first of all, to raise a price on it with Corona and our
True.
economy. If they do this, they have to realize the level of expectations within the gaming community is going to increase even more where it's at now. Like, imagine how critical we are and how critical the fan base is already.
Mm-hmm.
And now when it's every game's worth $70,
Can you imagine paying $70 for Madden?
I don't play. I don't no like no.
What was
Here-
that though?
It's here's the thing. If you delay a game, guess who's not going to take a risk on that game? Me, when it's worth $70 now. If something controversial comes out where it's like it's kind of me, like it's a 7 out of 10. A lot of critics are like waving, like doing this on the game, like, oh, I really like the story of the gameplay, or the gameplay did this for me. People are going to take less risks on your game when you raise the price on it on a standard fee. $60 for like whatever reason was the magic number for forever, like since I was a kid.
15 years, 2005. When the Xbox came out, they updated the price to $60.
So to me, it's like, if it, I don't know. I don't know. They tried doing microtransactions to accommodate for level of work and effort within a game, and the gaming community hated on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be the less toxic way for game companies to get more revenue. But I expect, if this happens, then I just expect we're going to get games when they said it. We're going to get more information. We're not going to get these bullshit leaks. We're going to get like confirmed dates of when you're going to release stuff. Hold them more accountable to the shit that, like, anthems can't happen at that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, early access needs to go away. I'm not gonna do beta testing for you if I'm gonna pay $70 for a game.
True.
Um,
Well,
I
early
don't
access doesn't really happen on the console though. But like
know.
this
No,
price will carry over to the
to
PC,
PC.
unfortunately.
It will. I
You
I
got any
have
other
real.
qualms? Because I got some things that might change your mind.
My thing is as a company, as a gaming company, I'm sure that this has been a conversation for many years.
Mm-hmm.
But I am convinced that we just need to have better tiers for game, like more standardized tiers within like indies to, maybe subscription based games like we talked about with Madden, and like this game where it's kind of a spinoff and it's 40, it's like that mid range 30 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
I have had problems where I feel like sometimes AAA games shouldn't be a full 60,
Yeah.
um, or you get like a good chunk of the game and there's DLCs that come out that will keep adding revenue. I would personally rather just pay for DLCs and not have them incorporated as free if that means we can stay at the 60 or whatever rates. If that's what gaming companies want to go towards, that's in my opinion a better way of getting more money for one AAA title and the work you put into the game. But I don't know. It makes me nervous because I feel like once this happens, if they successfully go over to 70 and their statistics stay the same, that people don't. Because right now the gaming industry is at a boom. Like people are buying video games more frequently, and I'm wondering what happens to the market when they do up it to 70. We're gonna get less games. Um, that I think people are gonna buy less, and I think I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard. It's hard to decide on.
All right, so I read an article that just summed everything up. Like and it really changed my mind in the way that I'm like, okay, it seems justified. But it's still obviously going to like be an initial sticker shock. Like, oh crap, now I got to pay $70 for this game. Like there are going to be some games that people don't feel are worth it. Like last episode we said people complain about spending $60 on Madden every year. Well, now you got to pay 70. Like it's not going to work for some people. But we've been at $60 for 15 years, and the price to budget, or like the budget of a game, has skyrocketed. Like in 2005, to make a game like Madden or like other similar games was like 35 million. Now the average game in 2020 is somewhere between 100 million and 150 million, and we're still paying $60 a pop. They found ways to cover for it a little bit by doing DLCs or those like deluxe edition games that are like 70, 80, 90, $100. And like people don't really feel like those are warranted either, because it's like they just give you a bunch of extra garbage. Or like they might include the season pass for the $100, like what I did with Borderlands 3. But if you take a look at how many hours games are worth now, like you're getting games that last from like 20 to 60 hours usually. Even if you get a game that's 20 hours at $60, you have gotten a better value for your time than movies. Because you go to a movie, spend 2 hours, get and pay $15. Like that's kind of a ripoff by comparison. So now you have a game that you own, can play indefinitely, and got an original 20 hours out of for about $2 an hour or $30 an hour. I'm all over the place. Anyway, I usually like to be like, okay, like I spent $60 in this game, I hope I get 60 hours out of it, but that doesn't always happen. And that's kind of like almost like a ridiculous like price point when you look at how much money gets poured into it. On top of this, they have looked at the numbers of what people have bought, and people used to buy like 6 or 7 games a year at like $60, $50 went before in the PS2 games, and they only lasted like 10, 12 hours or so. Now people are buying games like 3 or 4 and spending way more time in them. Like the games either last 60 hours as like a single player experience, or like you buy a Call of Duty and you play it for like 200 hours. Like people just like keep playing it, you know. They like want to invest more time in a handful of games rather than a little bit of time in a ton of games. Now that doesn't really apply to us because we we buy a lot and we have like attention span problems, but I can feel that because I definitely have friends that are like, okay, I only play like Call of Duty and maybe like some Destiny, and then like I'll hop over to like maybe like when God of War came out, they bought that. Like they bought like 3 games for the year. So like the fact that they're gonna spend $70 for a more advanced video game, it kind of like makes a little bit more sense with where people's like loyalty is lying. But the whole like the price of a game inflating, the technologies in these next generation consoles are pioneering things that will change the way even PC games are made. Some PC games get held back because they're also making them from the console perspective. Now, with like, for instance, the PS5's SSD, they are saying that are now able to create gameplay that didn't previously exist. For instance, Ratchet and Clank, the Rift in Time thing, or whatever that game is called. They have a gun in there that you can fire it and then go to an alternate version of the level in a split second. That previously wasn't possible because they couldn't load all those assets on a flip of a coin or like the snap of a finger. But now you can go back and forth between them just interchangeably at whim. So like the level of technology and like development that needs to go into that being just something that is taken for granted by most people, it makes sense that they're going to have to bump up the price of entry.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Is video games is definitely one of those unique products that has this issue. And what you say makes sense. And like honestly, I want to support our gaming industry and obviously support the gaming companies to keep generating the games that we love and on it. And the biggest thing I'm thinking through, right? $70, let's say when we sparked our passion for video games, how old were we?
2.
Yeah. We were kids. And think about how difficult it was to save up money or get money to a point where you could buy a game. And now it's going to be
leading
70,
up to a negative that I was getting to.
and it's $70 now.
Mm-hmm.
And even me as a grown ass adult with a salary, I want to play Madden. I want to play Cyberpunk. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. I want to play even NBA 2K because it's got my boy Damian Lillard on the cover. That's like 6 games. I have to dish out close to $500 in order to play all these games this year. Especially with sports games where you have to be within, like, for it to be, in my opinion, kind of enjoyable, you can't play a sports game the year prior. We've already talked about how that's kind of shitty. But then throw on top of that, in order, if you're a fan of NBA and you're a fan of Madden, you're a fan of FIFA, you got to dish out $210 potentially to play all 3 or to be involved. Like I just couldn't imagine being a kid during that. Like how shitty that would be. Not only is the console you want now like $500 for your parents to dish out, but on top of that, if your kid wants at least 2 games to play on it, you're also on top of that dishing out $140.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, before then it was 120. Maybe you can get a solid deal on it for where it's 45. But still, like, can you imagine what the game bundles are going to be like with the consoles if they are at $70, maybe even $80 for like a AAA game? The console bundles are going to be stupid high.
Now let me remind you of something that I forgot about. This current generation console is still supported, and those games are still $60. These kids that are our age, or not our age, like the age that we got into video games, they might not care about the graphics or like what the super crazy stuff that you can do on the PS5. They might be begging their parents to get it, but they can get a pretty dang similar experience on the PS4 and Xbox One still for a discounted price. They're not killing off the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One like anytime soon. Like it's going to be supported for years. So those people that want to play 2K, or like let's say they want to play like the next Call of Duty, and they don't really care about all the bells and whistles that the PS5 and Xbox Series X has. They can continue to do what they currently are if they don't want to change. They can wait for a sale on the PS5, like a price cut, cop it then, and then wait until like they're making enough money to then get into this what do you call it, the $70 price of entry. I do agree with you though that it has kind of cut out like the less fortunate markets, or like the people that like save up their money for like one game, you know, like they don't get every game. Like it is like kind of isolating them. But for instance, a lot of those people, like they're not into the PC gaming aspects because it's like enthusiast gaming. I think right now Sony and Xbox or Microsoft are trying to appeal to the enthusiast, like console gamers, the ones that want a PC experience but don't want to pay for it. So like they are essentially presenting you with two options. You can stick with the tried and true and keep everything the same with the price point and the kind of games you were getting, or like once you're ready, you can be an enthusiast gamer and then get the more expensive, higher quality games on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. And now I know a lot of PC gamers are still gonna be like PC Master Race and like we did it first and all this stuff, but like the price of a nice PC is not appealing to a lot of people. And a lot of people don't build a budget PC just because like it like makes sense to. Like, to be honest, a budget PC is a trash investment compared to what the PS5 and Xbox Series X are going to give you for the price. Like, it just like doesn't make sense. You would buy a PC because like the certain games you want to play and the PC gaming experience, not because of like, oh, it makes sense to buy anymore. Like, that's out the window.
Yeah, and my prediction, and this kind of might be my final summary of it, but my prediction is that it's gonna lower, even if it's already pretty low of how many games people buy per year on that survey you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
I predict it's gonna lower in general how much people spend on gaming. And hear me out, I with the whole you could wait as a kid. I remember when the 360 came out and I couldn't get it right away, and how how pissed off I was at playing video games because I couldn't play on the 360. And then
Mm-hmm.
when the 360, I had it, and I finally got it, and I finally got a Wii, and it took me like months because it was out of stock everywhere, and you had to wait, and you had to like go to GameStop every weekend to see if they had a Wii in stock. And then once the Xbox One came out, I was like, I was like, fuck, and like everything. Once you experience with the Xbox One, it's like when you see 4K for the first time, it's hard to like see that and see what you can do, and then like go home and boot up your 1080p TV. But I predict that sales will decline, and I worry that gaming will get back into like a very narrow sight towards game development. I worry that game companies might take lower risks on games. They'll stick to tried and true formulas that they know make money, and they don't make artistic leaps and bounds. And then the indie games, kind of get lost in the sauce. Like that's my worry. I don't think it's might happen, but I worry that if they go down to where if a new game comes out, the 70 price tag is what people focus on and what companies focus on. They're going to want games that are the big wows and the big, like out the gate. They're going to want games that solidify why it's worth $70. And they're not going to spend time on games where they're a little risky. Like I can imagine Monster Hunter World was a little risky, like for Capcom. Like you don't know if it's going to do really well. And it did really well. But like games like that might not take big risks on it. And with everything going to Switch too, like I'm wondering, like, is Switch gonna like have $70 price tags too now? Are they just gonna, because Nintendo's real stingy on how they do their pricing, and they won't
Yeah.
give up, they won't discount anything. So I worry then it's like I worry it's gonna spread like a disease. I worry that it's gonna do more harm than good to the gaming community. Where when its base soul is to help the game developers, I worry that in the end it's gonna hurt them. I think in my head there's more creative ways to put more money inside the game community. I think Microsoft has done a phenomenal job proving that Game Pass works. um, and that's generating them tons of money. Um, I think that there's more to subscription based, and I also think people will go more towards free to play games. Fortnite's, Warzones, League of Legends, those types of games are going to excel while other gaming communities decline.
Yeah, and like a couple of the points you made there, like it is difficult for a kid to change, like or not change, like when they see the nice new console. And I would agree with that. That would be difficult. But we also are to the point where, like we mentioned in previous episodes, we're getting diminishing returns. The jump from the PS2 to the PS3 and the Xbox to the Xbox 360 was like, dude, you can't not do it because it looks garbage on the previous gen. And even from the PS3 to the PS4 and the 360 to the one, like it was jumps, like leaps and bounds. This is like, okay, not only do you need the PS5, you need an HDMI 2.1 and a $600 TV with 4K and the HDMI port and the high refresh rate to support it all. Like a 10-year-old kid isn't going to understand all that crap. So like it's going to be hard to like show them that you don't need it, but like a lot of it is going to go unused.
Bro,
Like that's
we
what I'm
have
saying. It's like the enthusiast stuff. Like I'm even concerned. I game on my monitors. My monitors don't have 2.1. I can't even see the nice stuff on the PS5 on that. I'd have to use my TV in the other room. I don't usually game on a TV. So like I have to like change up my whole thing. Now I'm spending like $800 $900 just to be able to play.
dude. I mean, also, I mean, I get why they're going towards this, but like, you gotta also think like explaining to some parents that don't understand why the kid needs a PS5 or like why the PS5 is so more expensive to them. It's not gonna make sense.
Yeah.
It's not, and like, because honestly, I have to explain sometimes what an HDMI port is. So like, if you have to go home and you have to explain Wi-Fi and you have to like explain to them why you need a new HDMI cord and why their gold tipped whatever doesn't work anymore, or what they bought that was like the best thing a couple months ago isn't anymore. I don't think it's gonna sell well. You know what, they need to up their marketing. Like if this happens, their marketing team has to be pitch perfect, and none of this leak bullshit. They need to have
Dude,
concise
the
state.
leaks aren't going anywhere. Like I don't think you understand that. Like they're not going anywhere. Like
I
I
know.
that's not going to change. So like I don't know. But yeah, I get what you're saying. They definitely need to be better with the marketing and stuff. But with your worries about like where the industry is going and there's better ways to put money into the industry and things, I agree with you. I do think that these games need to then reevaluate their post initial purchase marketing. Like I'm not paying an extra bunch of money through microtransactions. Like I'm so glad loot boxes are a thing in the past. So like I wouldn't be putting money in that. I'm not gonna be as inclined to spend $40 on an additional expansion if the initial investment was 70. So like you said, we do need to start putting more into that initial package and then maybe start lowering the price of additional things. Because if we're also upping that DLC cost, now suddenly Destiny 2 or 3, let's say when Destiny 3 comes out, I just spent $200 in the first year because I spent 70 on the base game and then a bunch on 2 expansions, and then they're released the next year of like it's like a full game set. Like is that now going to be 50 or 60? Like it's really that's what's worrying to me, the total price over time of a game. Not so much the initial, but
Yeah, and I would love one thing I would love to see is statistics on day one purchases, if that goes up, and like versus when it goes on sale. But like yeah, like the additional, I feel like it's a matter of, have you ever had this happen where like we used to say like this Airbnb, and it's like a family friend that like throws the Airbnb, like it's their like house or whatever,
mhm.
and sometimes they'll like set it up and then they'll give us like a family discount and it's like dirt cheap, but it's like our favorite Airbnb. I don't want that family discount. I want to help you guys because I enjoy what you guys give. I want to pay what everyone else pays.
Mhm.
Whereas they think it's a good business model to give a discount, which it's nice. But at the same time, I feel bad, when I know I'm paying like dirt cheap what you could get for Airbnb for what you do for us. it's to me it's the same with the game. If I really enjoy a game and I want the DLC, it's cool that you're giving it to us for free, but like at the same time, if you're like we need to up it to $70, how about we look at how we're structuring our DLCs? Because microtransactions didn't work because it was just skins and cosmetics, and like some of it was just to play a part of the game of the initial package you had to buy.
I wouldn't
But
say they don't work though. It depends on the game type because
yeah,
they work in free to play aspect and they still do kind of work in like Call of Duty. They still make a ton of money off of that, but like they will decline. I feel like after the base game rises.
yeah. Just whatever you do, gaming industry, don't do in-game advertisements.
Don't give them that idea. I did want to make a comment about your indie game thing though. I wonder if the price of those will increase to kind of compete
Yeah,
because a lot of these indie game companies are their budgets are still small. So they can't even take advantage of all of the bells and whistles that cost a lot of money on those consoles. So like that $15, $20, $25 indie game thing, is that going to bump up $10 because now we're making those on these, higher gen consoles? Because like when I said I was watching the indie game reveals, a lot of them were pixel graphics, and that was because they're cheap to make, and like
yeah.
people like the way they look. Like it's just like it makes sense. So like with pixel graphics, you ain't going to be taking advantage of the Unreal Engine 5 and these insane loading times because it's like the game's already pretty like it's not as technologically advanced. So like I hope indie games don't increase like a ton. But by that same token, it would be helping out those companies more. Like they could then start taking a little bit more advantage, like their budgets would rise if they are getting more for it. But that's where I'm saying like it's all like to a point because you really can't make an indie game with those pixel graphics and stuff that will be taking advantage of this. So I don't know.
Here's my thing. Movie industry, you brought that up, right? As a counterpoint, comparing the ticket price to your level of entertainment, per hour or whatever. Ticket pricing, yeah, it's kind of expensive with concessions and the theaters and everything like that. But movie industry, movie budgets have skyrocketed as well compared to probably what they were, 20 years ago.
But the difference is ticket prices went up consistently all the time.
But not well, okay, that's fair. But one other thing the movie industry started doing as well is teaming up with uh, other corporations and having paid advertisements within their movie. You could Death Stranding did it with Monster. There's no way that Monster Energy drink wasn't a paid sponsorship.
But like
Like,
I don't see the problem with that as long as it's not like a legit ad just came up on my screen during the game.
so I mean, there's probably ways that gaming companies could incorporate that kind of level of advertisement that movies do as well when they drive like a BMW in a movie versus when you get into Warzone and there's like an Audi for you to drive or something. But like, or just the logo. But I wonder if like that has to be on the table of like where they can get other revenue, but maybe the easy answer is just to raise the price of your product. But I think it's a domino effect, and I think it's gonna maybe I have a pessimistic mindset of how it's gonna affect the gaming industry, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes, and like again, I'm not too thrilled to start having to shell out $70 because again, like it's going to make me buy less games. Like especially on like this, like we want to buy a lot of games so we can talk about them because it's fun, but it's like that's gonna decline a little bit because now we gotta shell out $70 each. Like I'm gonna be, excuse me, I'm gonna be waiting for more sales. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It could go really well. It could go really poorly, and only time will tell.
And I hope they don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes hearing like video game journalists talk about on this point, it's sometimes a little biased because half the time they review the games and they get copies of the games.
Oh yeah,
So it's I, it's another one of those things where it's like take it with a grain of salt that like a lot of people commenting on this big pivot in the video game industry so most of the time get free copies of things. Now, I'm not saying that specific individual gets free copies of everything. They probably experience the same problem, but like there's definitely a level of either uh it's a partnership, right? They need the video game industry to excel for their company to excel as well. So obviously they want to support kind of financial decisions like that. So
Yeah. Also, one bonus fact, like obviously inflation is a thing too. So they said that a $60 price tag in 2005, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's $81.15 January 2020. So like we technically are still getting a deal at $70 when adjusted for inflation. So I guess like you can use that to kind of feel better about it, but like it still will be tough. But when you think about paying $80 for a base game, when usually $80 is like the deluxe edition or something, it is kind of, I don't know, it's jarring.
this will be the last time I play devil's advocate on the other side of that point. In 2005, how many gaming companies were there? Or how many games were released within 2005? Because I feel like we have dramatically shifted the amount of games that are available to purchase.
Oh yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, that's the only other thing I would say to that.
But I don't know. So to top it all off, we got a fun piece of news for you that I know you're just gonna be like
I'm already excited.
roasting and toasting. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I told you I was going to tell you a fun fact.
Oh, okay.
Before we started recording, I told Keegan I was going to tell him a fun fact that I'm proud of. Last week, you told me, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, an ugly fact about you playing MUA 3. Whatever. I just want to let you know that every game that I have purchased in the last, like let's say full game, like I had planned to purchase in the last year since summer 2019, I have finished. That's a new record for me.
That's impressive.
Now, I just bought Need for Speed Heat, so I'm not including that because that was like really recent. I don't have time to beat that. But like every other game I beat. Like I can pull up the
Halo?
Huh?
Halo?
But that wasn't intended purchase. I'm talking about games that I had planned to purchase.
No, you're not including sleeper hits. Okay.
Well, I included Fire Emblem. But like all those like other little bonus games, like indie games and stuff, like not including that. I'm talking about like Pokemon, Fire Emblem, like all those big games. Like let me pull up the list.
I have not completed that.
I know, so that's why I was pretty proud to share. All right, let's say here. Astral Chain, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty, Need for Speed Heat I didn't beat because I bought it like just recently. Sword and Shield, I finished Sword finally. Animal Crossing's New Horizons, I saw credits roll, even though that game doesn't really ever end. Doom Eternal, I beat that one. Resident Evil 3 remake, I would have hoped I beat it. It was only like 8 hours long. And then The Last of Us Part 2 was the most recent game. So
that's nice. I'm hoping that my end of year is solid. I put a lot into the finish run through category. I'm hoping Doom Eternal I'm gonna get through. I mean I did do the BioShock.
Disco Elysium. Yeah, you cranked through the
Disco Elysium. I did XCOM 2. Frostpunk I just kind of gave up on. That game was hard as shit. But yeah, I mean, I hope I can get through most of mine. I want to get through at least Doom Eternal, Hitman 2. I'm hoping to crank out this summer as well.
Well, if you want to add another free game to the list, you should check out Superhot's DLC coming out. We're talking about games being more expensive. Superhot's releasing DLC for free. I'm pretty sure it's normally $25 dollars, but if you already own the game, they're giving it to you for free. But if you have it before July 16th of this year, so if you don't have it now, you should go get it.
I bet.
But
I wish I would have known that while the Steam summer sale was going on, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of could have done that, but they said
It's
that
only
yeah, and the DLC being 25, like it's like a no-brainer. Like it's gonna be larger than the the base game. So they're adding new abilities and stuff too. Like, I don't know if like you played it to completion, right? The game's pretty crazy and it gets really hard, but like they've added
Really
like
emotional out of nowhere.
like it was pretty like in the I don't know, it made me think. But like I don't remember being able to hot swap enemies in the last one. Like you can like just like teleport and change positions with another enemy.
And it recharges. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
So like I saw somebody like fire a gun at the user and the user just like moved in the path and then switched to the person and then like they got killed. So it was interesting, but I don't know. I'm gonna check it out if because I get it for free. But
Yeah, I like the Superhot games. I definitely couldn't play it for long stretches at a time though. Like, either I'd get a migraine from how like chaotic it gets, or I would just get too frustrated, like I would with Doom.
yeah.
But I'll definitely take a look at it. Take a peek. Take a little peek.
All right. On to the ugliness that I Ninja streamed on YouTube. That's all I got to say. People freaked out about it. And you were saying stuff. You're like, I think he's gonna like. It's like you're like he only has one option, but like I don't know. He might do something different. And here he is. He made one stream on YouTube, and there was no news about it being a deal. But everybody was like, oh, like he's exclusively YouTube. Like he's done it. Like whatever. And like people chilled out and they're like, wait, like they're no, he didn't say that.
Exclusivity deals, I think, are gonna. I I kind of hope they go away because, in my opinion, I don't think they. I think they're a waste of money from like Twitch or YouTube standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, especially because there's been a lot of drama lately with just like the other ones shutting down and just like why do we need these different, platforms?
I think I said it before. Ninja's gonna be fine, and sure enough, he's gonna be fine. I'm sure if we looked at his YouTube channel, he probably has like obscene amount of subscribers. It might have been a ploy for him just to do one stream, so a bunch of people subscribe to his YouTube channel, and then he goes to Twitch.
Yeah, could
Because
be.
who actually goes back to YouTube to unsubscribe?
And like
Nobody.
because he has a ton of subscribers on YouTube already just from that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And like this one article that I like got this news from made an interesting point, and this is like really the only thing I wanted to talk about this because I couldn't care less where Ninja's streaming. They said that if he remains like this free agent sort of thing where he doesn't sign any exclusivity deals, like they say Oprah, Ellen, and Bill Simmons have all exemplified the benefit of not tethering themselves to a single platform. So like the streaming industry can do the same with like Ninja, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect if he ever comes back. I don't know what's going on with him, but they have that option of flexibility because like I mean these big streamers are already making a disgusting amount of money per month. Like to keep their options open, I don't know. Because like in the
Here's the
instance where like Mixer shuts down, that does kind of not bode well for like, okay, let's sign a deal with other companies.
because the thing is as a streamer, they're either going to use one platform or they're not. Like at this point, right now, they haven't got to a point where it's like cable television, where it's like Ninja's show, and it's streaming on Twitch, it's streaming on YouTube, it's streaming on whatever. Those deals have not been like even remotely like legality. I'm sure that'll take for forever. But at the time being, the number one rule as a streamer is you consistently are at a schedule and at Twitch or at a certain platform. I can't even imagine setting up where you're streaming to Twitch to YouTube to Facebook gaming all at once. Like that has to be a
That
headache.
will happen eventually, and
It will happen
I think
eventually, but
it'll be very cool because you basically just choose what channel you want to watch it on.
yeah. But like with Ninja, if he's happy at YouTube, he's gonna stream at YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Once that started happening as YouTube, I don't need to make him sign a deal. The only reason why Mixer made him sign a deal was because they tried to get him off of Twitch.
Yeah,
They had to incentivize him to leave a platform. He's at this point where he's like a quote unquote free agent, but guess what? He's a free agent that's not going to get paid unless like somebody lures him in to like use their platform. Like if Twitch wants him back, or if YouTube or Facebook wants to seal the deal, then that might happen. But
How
it
do you
might,
mean not gonna get paid?
like, I don't think that he's gonna get an exclusivity deal.
Okay,
I
because I
think
was
that
gonna
he's gonna
say
have
this dude makes over 500K a month.
he's getting paid no matter what. Like, as he's always been.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, he took a bunch of money from Mixer. Like, they got paid out. So when that happened, he's sitting on his like, he got his contract paid out. Like, he's nothing happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that, like, news outlets shouldn't be looking for that next huge deal. It's not like where Mahomes just got signed to 10 years, 500 million with the Chiefs. It's more like he's going to make an announcement saying he's going to be streaming on YouTube. He's going to be streaming on Facebook. I'm sure those conversations are happening, whether or not he should join them or not. But if I was one of those platforms, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be lurking for, like, sign this contract with us. I would just be like, you should use us because we have all these features, because we have this platform. I think he's going to use YouTube, and at the end of it, like, Facebook shouldn't throw away money and try to get him to come there that way. I think he's already decided. I think this was his putting his toe in the water. I don't think Facebook's viable for him. I don't. The way Facebook's advertising their gaming today, like, I rarely see anything about it, and if I do, it looks like it's just another video thing to click on, and I don't click on it because I don't want to watch. When I'm on Facebook, I don't want to watch that. I'm not on Facebook. First of all, I rarely use the app, so I don't know.
You know what, you just kind of put another thought in my head unintentionally, and it's kind of funny. So, like, Microsoft was Mixer. We got Facebook out here with Facebook Gaming. Amazon owns Twitch now. We got these giant tech unicorns with streaming services. Is Apple gonna get in the game at some point and, like, create or buy their own? Because, like, I'm seeing, like, Google. I forgot about Google. Google owns YouTube. So, like, everyone's got, like, a big streaming service, and then, like, I don't know, like, Apple is really only, like, you know, phones and computers and stuff, but, like, I could see it happening. It would be kind of weird because they got their Apple Arcade thing, right? So they jumped into the gaming, like, they dipped their toe in the water, right? So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in, like, 15 years, like, way late, because, you know, Apple always gets the software stuff late, they're like, guys, we did it. Here's the real, true, end all streaming service. And everybody's like, get the hell out of here.
I think if Apple ever did it, I think it'd be, like, heavily that you have to buy some piece of hardware. Like, I doubt that they just do it as a system or software. It's just like, but you need our Apple, like, computer or our Apple webcam.
The use case actually could be, like, it is a little bit more difficult to stream on a Mac because of the different, like, complications with, like, using OBS or, like, streaming to different things. Maybe they'd be like, okay, like, this is how you would stream from a Mac. I don't know, but it just was an ugly thought that popped in my head. I was like, all these unicorns got their company on lock. Like, what if Apple jumped in? It'd be kind of funny.
I think Facebook definitely took a huge risk on trying to enter that game because it was already 3 giants in it, or 2. Yeah, well, Microsoft was, but
it was. Well, yeah, I guess, but, like, the biggest 2 for a long time was just Twitch and YouTube. But the funny thing is, YouTube was a complement to Twitch, so it was, like, interesting to how they, like, try to integrate, like, okay, here's your live, and, like, it can just integrate into your VODs. So, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh no, like, it's so easy for me to, like, hate on Ninja, but, like, I knew he was gonna be fine. That's why I didn't, like, give a shit when this happened. Like, he was getting paid a ton of money, and, like, it's not like he's playing exciting games. So I mean, he's gonna. My prediction: he's gonna be at YouTube. There's no reason There's no way he doesn't. He just does one stream with YouTube and stir up all this shit for no reason, just to go to Twitch. Like, that would be the biggest troll of all, like, 2020, and Corona happened. So
but
I mean,
he did it as a test, like, prior to this. Like, he just started up a stream, and then, like, it went viral and people freaked out, and then he did, like, a legit one. So, like, this could be a trial run because he hasn't decided on an exclusivity thing or decided where he wants to stay. So he could have, like, tested the waters on how he likes YouTube, because I don't think he's done that yet. and then like maybe he didn't like it as much, and then he does go back to Twitch, but he has the freedom to do so. But yeah, like
Yeah,
you said, until we get that multi-channel streaming thing where like it's on all different streaming services, like
people don't need to worry about exclusivity.
yeah,
He's gonna pick one. Like it's not gonna be like he's gonna be on YouTube one week and Facebook the next, and then whatever. Honestly, if next week he boots up one on Facebook, now I'm confused.
I wouldn't
Because
be.
in my mind, like YouTube is like the guarantee, like it's probably gonna be a quality product. It's been a while for a while, and I have Twitch as a backup. Like I know Twitch like the back of my hand. I could just go back to it. So I'm like, I get why he would be exploratory to YouTube. But if he was like on Facebook next week, now I'm like, dude, now you're just being
Well, like
greedy.
why
Like,
not though? Why wouldn't you just try it out? Like
because I
he
think I think his fans want him to get back to a consistent schedule. Probably, like I would
yeah,
think
but
you.
like I don't think that like they really care that much, because as soon as he's on a consistent platform, those diehard fans are there. Like it would make the most sense for like if he wants the most fans, Twitch. But like he's already so well off that like he can stream anywhere. He's just going for his personal experience. Like maybe Facebook gaming does have a better experience for the streamer. Who knows? I don't stream yet, so like I wouldn't know. But like he has already streamed on Twitch for so long. Then Mixer, that's gone. He's now tried out YouTube. The only one left to try is Facebook gaming. So like I wouldn't be surprised if he did it, is what I'm trying to say. But Twitch is where his original like rise to fame was, and where his original fans are. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's like the LeBron of esports.
Yes, dude. Where he like hopped around so much, and people either loved or hated it, dude. Oh man, that's funny. All right, well that was a beefy episode there. It was like it's not as long as I thought it would be, but like we crammed a lot in that hour and a half. So
Yeah.
well done, well done.
Oh boy.
If you guys liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe. Get us to the 1,000 subscribers, and we appreciate all the listens. We love you guys. Catch you in the next one.
See you guys.